Why keep begging banks? Become your own banker. What's up, fam? It's your asset protector, and today we're talking about one of the biggest, best kept secrets, wealth secrets that is, that's out there. How to turn your life insurance policy into your own private bank. This isn't about leverage. It's not about luck. It's not about begging or borrowing. So let's break it down so I can give it to you in plain terms. First of all, we're talking about infinite banking. What is infinite banking in the first place? Well, I'm glad you asked. Infinite banking is basically when you overfund your life insurance policy. So let's say your insurance costs $100 a month. Instead of putting $100 a month, you put in $1,000 a month. And now you're overfunding it, right? And that other portion of the insurance is not used to pay for your life insurance. Is actually operating in the stock market. Yes, it's working for you while you sleep. Think about it. You put your money in the bank. What do you think the bank gonna do with your money? That's why when you put it in the bank and you go back for it, it's not available. Well, why isn't it available? If I let you use my blue scarf and I go back and you give me a green scarf, that's not my scarf. Well, that's the way the banks do. They take your money. When you need it, you go back for it, you can't get it. What do? They tell you, now this is when you have a large sum of money, not when you need no $400 or $500, $5,000. I mean, when you need excess of $10,000. How do you get your money? Well, if you've never been in that situation before, then let me tell you, you have to arrange with the bank to come back later and get your money. Well, how much sense does that make? They got a vault back in the back, right? They probably got 10, 20, 30, $100,000 on hand, but here's what they do. They take your money, work with everybody else, loan it out to everybody else, and make everyone else happy. And then when you need money, you got to go through all of these hoops. Well, I'm going to show you a way that you can put your money into a vehicle that is going to actually make you money. When you need it, you have the liquidity. You can borrow the money from yourself, pay it back if you please. And if you don't, honey, please don't worry about it. It's your money. Now, a lot of times we borrow money from ourselves and we don't want to pay ourselves back. That's bad banking. That's going into the poorhouse. You know what I mean? Like you be selling the Girl Scout cookies and then you borrow money to put gas in the car. I know, I've done it too. So, like I said, infinite banking is basically using cash, value, life insurance policy, or a whole life insurance policy to build wealth where you can borrow from it. And instead of relying on the banks and paying them all of that high interest, how about you fund your own policy, grow and let it grow into guaranteed cash value, money that you can use during your lifetime. So you can borrow from it at any time you need to, and you're not spending money, you're recycling it. When you go into the bank, you are spending money. So I've already told you how it works. You overfund your policy above the base premium. Make sure that you watch out for MEC. MEC is MEC, Modified Endowment Contract. That will be means if you overfund it to a point, you have a ceiling. You can't just dump in as much as you want to. You can if you set it up that way, but if you don't, and even if you set it up that way, you can still only put in a certain amount of money, all right? So in other words, if you need to put in more than $1,000, let's set it up for more than $1,000. If you need to set it up for $300 per month, let's set it up for $300 a month. Don't set it up for $300 a month and then try to put in $1,000 because you're gonna overfund it too much and it's become a modified endowment contract. And the difference in that is that you're gonna have to deal with a tax situation. All right. So when you overfund the policy, let's say, like I said, if your policy costs $100, you're putting in $1,000. So now you are overfunding it, right? You're overfunding it. You borrow from it while it still earns like it's never been touched. It's not like going to the bank and you borrow $1,000, now the bank is $1,000 short. You're borrowing against their face. Because you must remember that money is not even real to start with. That's why when you go to the bank, when you go to the grocery store or you go to the hairdresser or you go to the car wash, or wherever you go. You go to Starbucks and you give them your credit card. You don't walk around with cash. So obviously money is not real. Money is a spirit, and money likes to be moving. It does not like to be stacked. And a lot of people like to say, I'm stacking paper. If you're stacking paper, then I'm just telling you right now, financially, that's stupid. Because the money is not growing. You're working like a damn fool to get the money, and then you're putting it in the bed mattress. Grandmama didn't know no better. Now you know better. You put your money on the mattress, what happens if the damn house catches on fire? What happens if someone breaks in the house? What happens if the house floods? And even if you got a safe, if you got too much money in there, what if the house crumbles down and then the safe goes down with it? Especially if you live in places like California where you have earthquakes. Now the house, your $100,000 is in the ground. Now what? I mean, it's your money. Do as you feel, right? So, like I said, you can borrow money from yourself. You pay it back to yourself on your own terms. You can use it for whatever you want to. If you want to buy a car, if you want to invest, if you want to go to Florida and go to the club and make it rain in the strip club, do whatever you please. Who cares? It's your money. Unlike a 401k, it doesn't have to be a dire need. House doesn't have to be on fire. You don't have to need a kidney transplant. The kid doesn't have to be about to pass away. You don't have to have a diagnosis. You don't have to be going to college. You don't have to be buying a... It's your money. Do whatever you want to do. Do what the hell you want to do with your money. You know what I'm saying? Use your own money. Now, why this matters for real people. You remember that song, OPP? You down with OPP? I'm down with OPP. Yeah, you know me, right? That song, OPP. So in here we talking about OPW, other people's money. So banks loan your money out to other people. You don't get nothing out of it. If you don't believe me, look at your bank statement. And you see if I'm telling the truth. They're going to take your money. They're going to pimp you out, lend your money to other people, and they're going to get a fat return called interest. Why don't you do the same thing for yourself? It makes all the sense in the world, right? So in infinite banking, it lets you be your own banker. It lets you borrow money from your own bank account and not going to the bank. Mr. Banker, please loan me some money. Heck no, we ain't doing that no more. Don't be like a kid. Don't be caught up into instant gratification. You got to have the cookies right now. Save the damn money and get the cookies later. Save your money, get the cookies later. Stop running up talk about running up a bag. And running up a bag means basically, it means running yourself into debt. I don't care what it sounds like. I don't care what this sounds like in the song. When you running up a bag, that's exactly what you're doing. You running up a tab, right? When you running up a bag, you building a bag. You put money in the bag. Imagine you have a bag full of money and somebody come in there and they drill a hole in the bottom of it. And now your money is leaking out. Well, that's what you've been doing. I'm telling you to stop doing that. So now you become your own banker. You're loaning money to yourself. You pay it back with interest to yourself. If you want to pay it back, pay it back. If you don't want to pay it back, don't pay it back. That's up to you. But if you're building wealth, it would be wiser to pay yourself back, okay? I was joking earlier when I said that, but we're talking about building wealth. So this system that I'm talking about, infinite banking system, is a wealth building system. It's not just a hack, not just something you can just tap into. This is something that you're doing generational. You're going to avoid traditional debt. You can access your money without paying taxes. When you want to, you pass it down to the next generation, all that you don't use in your lifetime. So don't just have life insurance like a term policy, because number one, the term policy is going to end as like a term. Think about being in school, or a term paper is a term. When it comes to that term, that senior year usually, you got to write that term paper. If you're in college, you either got a semester. If you're in a junior college, you got quarters, right? Whatever it is, it's just a term. From this amount of time to this amount of time. And from the way you see it, from this way to this way, it's just a term. That's all it is, right? So don't just have life insurance. Do what the wealthy people do. And get out there and put your money to work for yourself. All right, so if you want to know more about how we can fix your personal situation to match this, then I'll be happy to help you with that. So go to my website. Don't worry about dropping no comment on here. Go straight to my website, www.unitedprospero.com. Go to the booking link and schedule an appointment. Whatever time is available, that's the time that I'm going to reach out to you. I'm just going to ask you to drop some information, your name, phone number, stuff like that, email, and I'll hit you up and we'll set up a time. And it don't cost anything to talk to me, but it can cost you everything not to get involved into Infinite Banking System, not to have a lifelong, permanent life insurance policy, okay? Because you're going to get older. You're probably going to get a diagnosis. The policy term is going to run out, and then you're going to look back to get insurance again, and you're not going to be able to afford it because you're not going to be insurable, okay? So this ain't theory, it works. This ain't theory, it works. I've helped families do it, countless families to do this, and I'm doing the same thing in my own household. And I can help you to do the same thing to build prosperity on purpose. All right? So if you like what you're seeing, and this is something that matters to you and it can help you out, hit that booking link in my tab, www.unitedprospero.com. All right? That's it for this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye for now.